Hello friends, so today we will study chapter number 9 process superstep and we are going to discuss the data science process. So let's see what is the data science process. Data science process, the roots of data science. It is the core about curiosity and inquisitiveness. That means the asking questions. If we are curious about some topic, so we will ask questions about the topic. So suppose we want to know that what are the major points on which the employer is hiring the employee. So if this is our question, then we have to find out various parameters and then we should be able to answer the question. So what are the benefits of 5 why? 5 why assists the data scientist to identify the root cause of a problem and determine the relationship between the different root causes of the same problem. So we should be always in a mode to ask question that why, whom, what, and when things have happened. Now, when are the 5 whys most useful? The 5 whys are most useful for finding the solution to a problem that involve human factor or interaction that generates multi-layered data problem. Like humans are involved in the problem, then we should be able to answer that who has done this or what is the problem that is being solved, then how the problem can be solved. Now, how to complete the 5 whys? Write down the specific problem. This will help us to formulate the problem and describe it completely. So it will help the data science to focus on the same problem. Now, the fishbone diagram. A fishbone diagram is a type of diagram used to show the cause of a particular problem or the opportunity and to break down the causes into categories that are elaborated into successive levels of detail. So, fishbone diagram, it consists of a single effect or issue at the far right of the diagram with the horizontal arrows pointing to it. From this horizontal line, main branches extend vertically both upward and downward with each main branch representing a single causal characteristics. So each category branch then has primary causes of the effect that fit in that category as sub-branches with sub-causes branching off the appropriate primary cause in repeating pattern until there is an agreement that the root cause of each primary cause is identified. Like we have to draw a diagram as shown in the next. We have to draw a line. This is our problem. So this type of line we have to draw from left to right and this is the effect. Now we have to write the category. So this is my category number 1 and then each category can have subcategory. So I can write the subcategory and primary cause. Then we can write the secondary cause. Like this we have to go on writing. Now this is my category 2. So category 2, then primary cause for category 2 I have to write and the secondary cause for category 2. So this diagram appears like a fishbone. That is why it's called as a fishbone diagram. Now one example is given like causes of low customer satisfaction. So this is my problem, low customer satisfaction. What we have to do? We have to draw one arrow from left to right and we have to write the problem as low customer satisfaction. Then what can be the causes of it? So high pricing is the first cause identified, low quality product and poor support. Now high pricing, what are the primary cause and we have to find out what are the secondary cause. So the secondary cause may be the cost of material is high, ineffective marketing is done and because of which the cost has increased. So both are contributing to this high pricing cause. Same way we have to go with the second problem, that is low quality product. So the reason for this may be the poor material, then second the bad design, and third the incompetent employees. The third is poor support. So for this it might be the wrong answers that is being put or the FAQs are not proper, long hold time, or the fee structure is not proper. So we have to write the problem and we have to write its causes. Now, Monte Carlo simulation. This technique performs analysis by building models of possible results by substituting a range of values, a probability distribution. It then calculates results over and over each time using a different set of random values from the probability function, depending on the number of uncertainty and the ranges specified for them. A Monte Carlo simulation can involve thousands of tens of recalculations before it is completed. That's why it's so complicated to do the calculations again and again. And Monte Carlo simulation produces distributions of possible outcome values. As a data scientist, this will give an indication of how the model will react with the real life situation. It also gives the data scientist a tool to check complex system wherein our input parameters are high volume or complex. Causal loop diagram. Causal loop diagram aids in visualizing how a number of variables in a system are interrelated and derive cause and effect process. The diagram consists of a set of nodes and edges. Nodes represent the variable and edges are the links that represent a connection on a relation between the two variables. Example, the challenge is to keep the number of employees available to work and productivity as high as possible. So this is the problem. Now how to deal with it? You have to create the causal loop diagram. So this is the causal loop diagram. Here the number of employees available for work and we have to check the productivity. So number of employees in training, it has a negative impact. Call ins due to sickness, employees that are late and assigned to other departments. So all these are having negative impact on the number of employees available for work. Like for example, if suppose in a college there are say 15 faculties available for teaching. Out of that, some faculties might be on leave, some faculty might be sick, some faculty might be coming late, and finally we are left with only 10 faculties who are teaching at any point of time. So it is affecting the productivity. Now productivity has negative impact. Now perceived training requirement is there. We have the amount of overtime utilized. We have to check moral of the employee and amount of managers doing the workers duty. So all these are the reasons for low productivity. Monte Carlo results, a hybrid data science technique formulated from two other techniques, Monte Carlo simulation and deep reinforcement learning against a graph data model. So what we have to do, we have to create a graph data model and we have to find out the regions. So as per the earlier diagram, we have identified this as region 1, then this is region number 2, this is region number 3, and this is region number 4. So identify the regions in the graph. Then the Monte Carlo simulation cycled through a cause and effect model by changing the values at point R1 through R4 for 3 hours. As a training set, the simulation was then run for 3 days within a reinforcement deep learning model that adapts the key drivers in the system. The result was manager need to manage, not work. The R2 percentage of managers doing the employee duty was the biggest cause and impact driver in the system. So if this is identified, then managers should be given only the task of managing. They should not be doing the task of worker. Pareto chart can be constructed by segmenting the range of the data into groups, also called as segments, bins, or categories. So here we have the difficulty in parking, like suppose there is a mall and we want to know that why the customer complaints are given. If suppose the mall customers are decreasing, so we can find out the customer complaints and based on that we can categorize them. So some customers might be having the difficulty in parking or poor customer service or limited selection of item, poor layout or poor lighting. So because of all this, the customer footfall is also decreasing in a mall. Customer questions, the Pareto chart answer is, what are the largest issues facing our team or my customer in business? So what 20% of the sources are causing 80% of the problem? We have to find out the 80-20 rule. So as per this, we can find out the largest or the biggest problem is the parking difficulty, and because of which people are not visiting the mall. So we can identify that yes, if the parking problem is solved immediately, then the footfall can increase. Now 80-20 rule has to be applied. We have to find out the 20% of the sources causing the 80% of the problem. So where we should focus our efforts to achieve the greatest improvement. So we should not focus on other problems, because definitely there will be lots of problems, but we have to focus on the major issues. So the major issues in the previous example was the parking, availability of parking. So if you perform rapid assessment on the data science process and determine what it will take to do 80% of the data science effectively and efficiently in most rapid framework, so it is the maximum gain technique. Now feature correlation analysis. So we have to go for feature development. It is performed between data items to find relationship between the data items. So for that we have to import pandas. Then an array is given 1 2 3 5 6 9 7 3 13 5 3 19 5 3 12 and 5 6 11, and all these values are given. We have to create a data frame and we have to find out the correlation, and we have to print the correlation to understand the correlation between the data. Forecasting is the ability to project a possible future by looking at the historical data. So the data vault enables these type of investigations owing to the complete history it collects as it processes the source system. It can answer questions like what we should buy, what we should sell, and what is our next business. Data science works best when you follow approved algorithm and techniques. So we need to follow these steps. Start with a question. Make sure you have a fully addressed and 5 whys. All the 5 whys we have to consider in this. Follow a good pattern to formulate a model. Guess a prototype for the data and start a visual simulation of real world parameters. If you have an operational research or econometric skills, this is where you will find and use for them. So we have to formulate a good model. Gather observation and use them to generate a hypothesis. Start the investigation by collecting the required observation as per your model. Process your model against the observation and prove your hypothesis to be true or false. Use real world evidences to judge the hypothesis. Relate the findings back to the real world, and then through storytelling, convert the results into real life business advice and insights. Collaborate early and often with customers and with the subject matter experts along the way, so that we'll be able to justify our solution. So with this, we have completed unit number 4, chapter number 9, that is the process Superstep. Thank you.